Hi, I'm Mark Milster. Welcome to my shop. Today I'm just doing some everyday shoeing. This horse here is a 14-year-old breakaway and goat tying horse. I most of the time keep heart bars on him. I took him off this last time. He was getting a little thrushy on his frog, so I thought I'd give him a break. And anyway, but I'm gonna stick the heart bars back on today, and and you guys can watch me make them. All right, I'm just trimming up the commissures of the frog. For me, I feel like you gotta trim the frog first, kind of get an idea of where everything's at. And this particular horse, like I said, he's a chronic founder. And you can see here, his sole's dropped here a little bit. And what I'm gonna do first, I'm not gonna trim anything off the bottom. I'm just going to take a little bit of sole out, what wants to come out, and then I'm just going to try to find right here the junction of the sole and the lamina where it comes together right here. Clean that out where I can see that. Trim the foot back the toe up before I ever trim anything from the bottom, because a horse like this, he doesn't have much depth to his foot anyways. And if I take it off the bottom first, then I can't take it back, because then the horse is going to get too short. And you can see right here, it's likely that I'm going to have two planes. I'm going to have a plane here and I'm going to have a plane here. And if that's the case, when I get done here, I'll address that a little bit later on. But I'm just looking right here, the junction of the sole and the lamina, trying to make this even thickness through here. Now I'm just going to take the foot forward and dress this back, and then I'll trim the back half of the foot. All I'm doing here is I'm just dressing this foot back to the little line. I made a little line on the bottom, beveled the foot. And I'm just going to dress this back some, kind of blend it up the wall. I'm not going to come all the way to the hairline, mostly down here on the edge of the wall right here is where I'm trimming the foot back, backing it up. But it's important, the main thing is you can go down or you can go back, but you can't do both. So this, like I said, this horse doesn't have any depth to start with, so I want to leave him what he has. He'll get a little bit more with the heart bar. The heart bar shoe will just work more like a arch support on a person would. Right now I'm just assessing the coronary band. When I'm shoeing a horse, or I was always, one of the first things I was taught was a level hairline and the foot in the center of the leg. So I'm looking at that, seeing, making sure the foot's in the center of the leg and my hairline's level. I'm trimming this foot. When I'm nipping it, just taking little like half nipper bites with my tongs slightly leaned this way. The reason for that is when I get done nipping the foot, I want to have a little scope to the foot. The foot comes this way, doesn't come this way. As long as the foot is this way, it comes this way, I can still grasp it and get it flat. But if I roll if I lean my nippers this way, the foot's going to be like this. And I don't have the scope. I've already got it short. So if I lean them out, then my foot has the tendency to be like a bowl. And I can just take, I can rasp off the top of it, and I have some scope and really get it flat then. Everything that I do, I learned from someone else. The way I just showed you the nippers, it was a little trick Mark Caldwell taught me. These heart bars I'm going to build for this horse was a method that Billy Crothers showed myself and Austin Edens. Okay, right here I'm using a clinch cutter to cut the clinches so I can get the shoe off without tearing the foot up. Some people prefer using a rasp. I prefer a clinch cutter because I use a gouge and gouge under my clinches. and the clinches are in the wall. In order to get those off with a rasp, that means you're taking off foot and wall that doesn't need to come off. Again, first thing I'm going to do, just going to trim the commissures of my frog so I can get a good idea where everything's at, the highest, widest point of the frog. And I'm going to wire brush the dirt out of the foot first. It's just before I go to work with my knife, like I said, this horse doesn't have a lot of depth to his foot, so I don't want to take any more than I have to. And I just clean it up so I can see what I'm dealing with. A lot of guys have apprentices, and they have their apprentices pull the shoes and stuff, and for me, one of the things that I want to see the most, is most important to me, is when I come back to the job. I want to see where the shoe is on the foot. I want to look at the wear of the shoe, and it tells me a lot. You know, I think if you have someone else taking your shoes off for you, you're missing a lot of the story sometimes. Okay, I'm just taking out what's to come out a little bit, not going to get carried away. We'll do the same thing as I did on the other side. Just use a little loop knife here to just trying to find the junction of the sole and the lamina, white line, where it comes together. Jim Keith and some other people, Jim's first one that comes to mind, done a study on heel-toe ratio on some horses in New Mexico that were on the Bell Ranch. Basically, these horses were barefooted on like 80,000 acres. Not hardly any fences on this land, and so they were as natural as about as natural as you can get them these days. And I think they did 120 horses and measured heels and toes after they've been barefooted for a year out there. Most of them, the heel was between 35 and 38% of the length of the toe. The mean being 35. And I think on a horse like this, or any horse, it's important, in laminitic horses, founded horses, that you try to keep that ratio. A lot of them just do better if you'll do that. Sometimes you gotta, because the way the toe grows, it separates, it comes up, and it pulls the sole. As the toe goes, it pulls the sole with it. And so the toe most times just needs backed up, but like I said a while ago, you'll have two planes. So sometimes you have to put some Superfast or something on the shoe to make up for that. I don't really like putting rocker toes on those. I'd rather have the shoe flat and put something on there to fill that gap to try to keep that heel-toe ratio the same, because a lot of them get a lot more, the ratio heel to toe, the heel is way more than it should be compared to the toe. Got my steel, got 18.5 inches of, 2 pieces 18.5 inches of 3/8 concave. Concavity steel. And by the way, I would like to ask you all if you know who Eaton is. Eaton is the artist formerly known as Austin Eatons. He now goes by Eaton. I can't be all serious, can I? Okay, when I'm burning this, I'm not burning down on a foot like this as much as I'm trying to burn back. I'm trying to get my clip seated. He already doesn't have any depth. I don't want to make the foot any shorter. I just want to get my clips burned in. I'm just trimming a little bit out here where I burned, just inside the sole here where it's burned, just to make sure I don't get any sole pressure. My shoe's seated out, so I shouldn't, but just in case. I've got quarter clips on here, or side clips, depending on what school you come from. And I'm gonna drive, it's like a toe clip. These clips here, I'm gonna drive the toenails first because I wanna pull the shoe back into where I've burnt my clips in. I'll drop it down, see how he likes it. before I finish it up. He's standing on it good, so I think he's all right with it. Foot's in the center of his leg, I think. To the widest point of the frog. One thing about this shoe, you know, this shoe, you can make it to fit however tight. It's a really good shoe. This horse is a rope horse, so I don't want a lot of shoe sticking out. I have some, but I boxed it off with the belt sander there. But you can fit this shoe pretty snug. There's not a lot sticking out here. Kind of can follow the bulbs. One thing, I didn't burn this foot a whole lot because it's pretty short. But one thing I will say, if you're in a certification or a contest or even just everyday shoeing, when you burn, you're going to get a little mushrooming right here. You can feel it on the foot after you've burned. And to a judge or examiner, when they put the shoe on there, it's going to feel like the shoe's too small, like it's too tight in that area. So you want to be sure, you know, with a finish file or something that's not real aggressive, just lightly go over and knock that corner off, knock that mushrooming off. Another thing, if I had burned into the heels a lot, a lot of times you'll burn into the bar, and if you do anything, alter the shoe after that, like if you close it or something, it'll sit on that bar and you'll have a sprung heel. So you want to come in here and be sure that, you know, if it's burned into the bar and then you move the shoe in some, you want to make sure it's not sitting on the bar and you have a sprung heel. This particular shoe, I'm driving E4 Slims in it. Concave is the channel's pretty wide in it, so it's, you know, it takes an E-head, the European style nail, fits really nice in them. A lot of you guys are probably wondering how much frog pressure I applied to this horse. That's something I really hate to say because every horse is different. You know, I don't want to say, you know, a Heart Bar is a shoe that has been misused a lot. If it's used correctly, it's a wonderful shoe. You know, it's got a bad name sometimes because it hasn't been used correctly. It's like a gun. You know, a gun don't kill somebody, it's the person pulling the trigger that does. You know, Heart Bars have got a bad name at times because they said it made the horse sore. It wasn't the Heart Bar, it was the misapplication of the Heart Bar that made the horse sore. And I hate to give a rule of thumb on frog pressure because every horse is different. That's why I set him foot down to see if he liked it or not. Okay, I'm just getting these nails at a 90, basically. With an undercut or a gouge, you don't need the clinch real long. I'm rasping it fairly close to the foot. The undercut goes about the width of the nail blade, about that much. How wide the nail blade is about how far under the clinch you put your gouge. Now I'm going to go straight in, and once I get my depth, I'm just going to flip it up like that and just keep tapping. That takes my little plug out. Rasping them, they're going to be about the same as what I said a while ago about how far under the gouge goes under it. I have about the width of the nail is about how much I have sticking out past the foot. I mean, how much I've left. That's how long my nail is right now before I bend it over. You don't have to squeeze very hard when you gouged. You just basically are just squeezing the handles over and you can feel it just snap in there. Okay, we just finished up this horse on the front end with these 3/8 by 3/4 concave Heart Bars. And thank you guys for joining me in my shop today.